Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael Schwahn and welcome to the channel. We have some more reaction content for you, and today we are checking out Deliver Us Mars, which is the sequel to a game that I still know nothing about, which is Deliver Us the Moon. And from lack of anything else that I can tell, it's an astronaut simulator, but made as more of a video game and less as a simulator game. I'm probably very wrong. Feel free to correct me at this point in time. But that said, welcome in, Vanishar. That said, I'm just going to let the game speak for itself because, like I said, I don't know enough about it. And even their description here, sequel to the award-winning Deliver Us the Moon, Deliver Us Mars. It is an atmospheric sci-fi adventure offering an immersive astronaut experience. Explore new frontiers on a suspense-fueled high-stakes mission to recover the Ark colony ships stolen by the mysterious Outward. That doesn't tell me anything beyond it's in space and we're going to Mars. So, it's Red Faction 4, right? It's not. It's not Red Faction 4. I'll shut up. Would a parachute work all that well on Mars? I mean, I'm sure it'd work a little bit, but how much? That was 2 right feet. Red Rebel. Wheatley, wake up. Is that a Guardian? Are we playing Destiny? Wouldn't think much without an atmosphere. See that? I'm like, I don't know if that works great. Okay, that was not very informative, but I guess that's why it's just a reveal trailer of that they're making it. Give me more, please. Parachute would work on Mars.
Sarah? Ryan?
I just realized these videos are like loud.
Can you hear me?
Turn it down just a little bit.
Please come in.
Mission Opera has only one objective.
Bring the Arks and their revolutionary technology back home.
Here we go, Opera Team. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
I need to know that when we get there, you'll make the right decisions.
We can do this.
Oh, shit.
What do you expect to find on Mars?
Is this Tomb Raider in space? I didn't see them fighting anything, so here's the game overview trailer. This might give us a little bit better of an idea, but I definitely got big Tomb Raider vibes from those little exploration sequences.
The title, Deliver Us Mars, it's a metaphorical phrase by saying, deliver us the solution, a new outcome, deliver us the future.
Mission Opera is about a distress call that comes in from Mars 10 years after its predecessor, Deliver Us the Moon. What we're feared today that might happen to Earth with climate change, this already happened in Deliver Us Mars.
They decide to go to Mars and find out if the arks that might contain a solution can actually save Earth and its state and maybe make it a more habitable planet than we have today.
At its heart, Deliver Us Mars is still a story about humanity, and our story will always revolve around that the technology we have could do it, but the actual answer is somewhere in us as humans and the conflicts we face as a species.
I love the ambition that Kyogen has. They have huge designs. This is a cinematic, operatic piece, which is still embedded in a family drama.
It's actually a very intimate story between a daughter and a dad.
Kathy Johansson is the protagonist in this story.
With Kathy, the whole piece rests on her. So if we didn't get that right, none of it's going to work. It wasn't easy to find the right person.
We did quite a lot of casting to get to the main character, Kathy Johansson.
But when we found Elise, she was
Man, the day that video games are able to do hair properly is going to be a brilliant day.
Intelligent, funny, and rebellious.
Instead of a typical hero who could be the answer to anything, we really liked Kathy to be real.
She's incredibly passionate about space and Mars, grown up with that around her. Her relationship with her father is a very complex one. There's this beautiful love there, but it's a disconnected love. She hasn't seen him for years, and so there's this big hole in her heart. She has all these unanswered questions around where he is, what their relationship would be like now.
Is he alive? Is he not? That's the quest she's on there.
She's got this amazing self-assuredness about her, but also, on the other side of the coin, she's very sheltered and also has a deep, deep insecurity through the experiences she's had as a child. I got to explore such a range of emotions. That was demanding, but like so exciting at the same time.
When I saw that, I was like, that's what Kathy is.
So when you're working in performance capture, as an actor, I always tell people, move like theater, speak like film.
Every scene that you see in Deliver Us Mars is shot by hand, filmed as if it's live action.
You sort of have to take the best technical skills from both theater, film, TV, and you smash them together.
Man,
every day
I
you
bet
could
that's
really
such
tell
a rewarding
how
experience as an actor
passionate
now
everyone
to work in
was and
video
how
games
everyone was
when
just
you
working
get to
really
do
hard
all
to
of
create
that
something
shit.
really special.
There is a Dutch expression going where they say, don't go too crazy because your normal state is already crazy enough. We think go big or go home.
The game looks really grand.
Deliver Us Mars is a big step up from Deliver Us the Moon. It's a longer game, it's a more emotional story, there's more gameplay involved.
I dare to say that we're gonna give you another game that is gonna be not just as great, but even better.
We are so excited for players to see more of Deliver Us Mars and to play it for themselves on September 27th.
Strap yourself in and get ready for a serious emotional hit, but an amazing adventure.
I don't think I realized that it was coming out in a month. Of course, I think I paused here and it didn't I don't think I let it play far enough to get to this screen where it said coming September 27th. So, I've not played Deliver Us the Moon. Apparently it's a shorter experience. Let's take a quick little look at how long it is. Okay, I'm just curious. Okay, how long to beat? How long to beat's the best like we can go on for the most part, right? It's not always accurate. Deliver Us the Moon is a 5-hour experience. Set in an apocalyptic near future where Earth's natural resources are depleted, a lone astronaut is sent to the moon on a critical mission to save humanity from extinction. Okay. And this is the idea of that somebody stole technology and scurried off to Mars with it that is supposedly going to, in some way, let us maybe re-terraform Earth in a way that makes Earth rehabitable. So, you know, there is one thing. I've not even looked at Deliver Us the Moon, but I'm still wishing that they showed us a little bit more of how this game's game part worked. We saw them doing like some climbing sequences in like I made the reference to Tomb Raider. I mean, you got the ice pick that they're holding on to things with, and they're jumping from like panel to panel, which definitely made me still think of something like Tomb Raider or Uncharted. And then otherwise they're just kind of like walking around inside of a space station and like carrying a couple of things, right? But we didn't really see many details of what happens, and not having knowledge of how the gameplay worked in Deliver Us the Moon makes it really hard to know how the gameplay is going to work here, especially when I don't feel like they communicated it very well. They seemed much more focused on wanting to show you like vistas, and in the case of this recent like 4-minute trailer that we just got done watching, giving you the idea of like why you should care, but not necessarily what you're going to be doing. And it it's always a difficult balance with video games, but at the end of the day, video games are games. And while you can have a story really lift up a game out of mediocrity when it comes to gameplay, gameplay is still how we interface with it. And there's some games that kind of sit on a mixed, blurred line there. If we're going to look at like supermassive games with like the Dark Pictures anthology, where it's almost kind of like you have a slight amount of agency over what happens with like left or right decisions or quick time events that can alter the story. And that's kind of like the modern day rendition, a 3D environment created visual novel compared to a visual novel if we're going to look at things like Steingate or AI the Somnium Files. Games that where you're more moving through the story with your own small amount of input, rather than actually having a video game like exchange in the way that even other story-based games like RPGs, if we look at, classic JRPGs like Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, where there's like this combat element involved in it. And then of course, if we look at a game that I've already made the comparison to a couple of times, something like Tomb Raider, where there is this story and this narrative that's happening and there's these big beautiful vistas, but the actual gameplay part of it is you adventuring, exploring, and fighting with bows and guns and stuff, trying to take out the people that are in your way or trying to stop you or whatever. And it's those parts of it that I'm wanting to know more about Deliver Us Mars, especially when the game's only a month away. I could probably just go look at Deliver Us the Moon, but it's more a criticism of this presentation rather than anything else. Like, the game looks cool. As like Vanisher said, it looks promising, but I would just like to know just a little bit more about what we're actually doing in terms of how the game itself actually works. This is all of the current marketing footage for Deliver Us Mars. I imagine we'll probably get like a launch trailer, a release trailer in like, a month. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm curious. I would like to know more. But regardless, that is Deliver Us Mars. I would really like to know where you sit on it, and especially if you have played Deliver Us the Moon. How did you feel about Deliver Us the Moon? And if you liked it, then, let me know how it worked, what you thought was the good and bad parts of it, and put those thoughts down in the comments below. If you want to keep up the conversation elsewhere, two great places to do so are Discord and Twitter. And speaking of Discord, we actually have a channel dedicated to these reactions where you can place links of your own that we can watch together live on stream, because we do stream 4 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, and I would love to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. If you want to catch future videos, please subscribe to the channel. And if you do watch one of the other videos on the channel, or if I see you in the live stream, thank you, and enjoy.